Are you sure you want to have changes that won't be saved? Leave.
I'm gonna clean the seat off.
I've been doing this for how many hours now? Hold on. 1, 1, 2, 3. All right, we're live. We'll be going, coming on the screen in just a moment. All right, well, let me go ahead and check and make sure we have some audio before we get started. There we go.
I think I'm on.
You're on. Just go ahead and do a sound like 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think we're really good right now. Well,
It's gonna bug me.
all right. Well, Maggie, thank you so much for joining me.
Serious, it's gonna bug me.
All
Okay.
right. Well, it's only going to bug you for about the next 30 to 60 minutes, so
Yep.
you'll be good. So, well, thank you, Maggie, for joining me. It's been now about 150 days, really well over, or just about closing in on 5 months now since the grand opening of Artsy Artisan. And no question, there's a lot of work that started well before the grand opening and going back into the previous year. But what I wanted to do was to take a half hour, even up to an hour, depending how the conversation goes, and talk about the joys, the challenges, the lessons learned, the journey of building what is behind us and to your left, 1,300 square feet of maker space in an art studio. I want to talk about your original vision, maybe how it has grown, changed, been modified based upon the reality of the environment, which we always knew that there would definitely be challenges to be faced. Talk about maybe some of the updates based upon the reality, right? The best laid plans of mice and men as they change moving forward. And then also I want to ensure we try to provide some valuable insights for those other individuals who might be trying to start a small business. I think very few, if anyone, knows this is our actual second run at a small business. In the late 90s, for almost 3 years out of North Carolina, we were focusing on distributing coffee. At the time, this was at the height of the gourmet coffee craze, to bed and breakfast, basically in the
Panamanian
Carolinas.
coffee.
Yeah, Panamanian coffee. In appropriate sized portions to bed and breakfast in the Carolinas. So it isn't necessarily your first rodeo when it comes to a small business, but this one is your small business. At the end of the day, success or failure, however that is measured, is all dependent upon you. So I guess, why don't we do a quick recap for those who've joined us before, on May 3rd, when we had this sit down, and then, to bring, I guess, into the loop, those individuals who have joined us over the months. And I'll say, you're now up to just under 700 followers on Facebook, which is,
Thank you.
about 130 or so per month increase.
Right.
Now, I have to tell everyone, you may have 600 or 700 followers, but the fact is only 0.05% of them actually see your posts unless you're paying to get it to them. That's part of the algorithm that Facebook has.
That's how they get money out of it.
Right, and again, and so it's all about creating content where people are going to want to come to you. And we're going to talk a little bit about the 3 social media platforms that Artsy Artisan is on and remains a presence in during this time. Why don't you recap the vision of Artsy Artisan as it was on 3 May?
It was to be a creative maker space where people could come in and do projects and art education, a little bit of art history, and then also where their imagination can come to life.
All right. So where are you today, Artsy Artisan, in regards to moving along the path to that vision or achieving it? What's your honest assessment of that?
Well, it started out really great, like gangbusters. We had some great workshops, May, June, and then July started to drop off. August, no one signed up, and you're like, what's going on? And that was the last month of summer, and as things have been morphing, and I'm totally fine with. I would have liked the workshops to continue and everything, but I'm totally fine with. I'm just always. I wake up every day expectant because I'm like, okay, Lord, what are you going to do today? And whatever that looks like, that's what I'm good with. I'm not. I don't have my expectations all wrapped up in a certain path that it has to be this way, or if it's not, I'm gonna cry or anything like that. I just kind of not sit back, but I kind of like just reassess and see how are things going? In what direction are they going in? What do I need to do to go alongside whatever is happening? And what I've been seeing lately is people, and this was funny because I was just watching the video from before, so I was like, what did I say? But one of the things that I was hoping for was that people would come up to me and say, hey, could you do this? And it would be like, of course, yes, we can do that. And then doing those projects with with other people. And it's been so encouraging to me because that's really where my heart is to to help others achieve their dreams and their imagination, making it come to life, and their passion, and just being a helpful person in that whole process. A lot of people say, I want to get to here, but I don't know the steps to get there. And so I'm like, hey, I can do this part and then get you to where you need to go. And especially when it comes to creative things, I love that. That's like what I kind of live for a little bit. And so, I love doing artsy things for myself as well. And you'll see that later. Are we going to do it?
It's going to be in part 2. It's going to be separate.
We're going to do a tour for part 2. And so then you'll be able to see some of the pieces that I've been working on that are my own passion projects. But I love to help someone else achieve the vision that they have. And so that's what I've been seeing lately. And I'm like, well, I'm good with that. Mm-hmm. And that gives me a lot of time to work on the things that I'm working on. I have had some inquiries about people saying, hey, any workshops coming up and things like that. And part of me wants to do that. And the other part of me is like, would that be in conflict with the direction that things are going in? I'm still, the jury's out on that. And I may do a seasonal.
Yeah, I think there's a good opportunity for a holiday one,
yeah.
in early November.
something Christmassy,
Mhm.
and that way people could use it as a gift for other people for
Mhm.
Christmas, or as a personalized gift for themselves, or
Mhm.
something like that.
So there appears to be, and this is an insider perspective, there seems to be a small, I will call it a conflict between your passion for creating art and necessity to create revenue.
Okay, so
How would you answer that perception?
I will also add that when we did this the last time, he truly was an outsider looking in, because he had been coming around a little bit, but he wasn't here as much as he has been since May 3rd. And so now it truly, studio assistant has taken this on as his second profession. And he's here almost more than me, but actually more than me. Yeah. So all that to say, our philosophies differ when it comes to revenue, income, and streams of income and all that. And I personally do not concern myself with such things. And it sounds strange to say, I am trying to run a small business here. But in my personal philosophy of who I am as a Christian, I believe that my God provides for my needs. He provides for the needs of this business. He's the one who put this business on my heart. He's the one who has given me the gifting to be able to do the things. And I don't have to strive for anything. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like, if the workshops, which were a stream of revenue, aren't happening, then how is income happening? Well, we still do have studio time. And what studio time is an opportunity for you to come in and work on a project. You can come and ask for one of the ones that have already been done and work on that on your own. Come in during studio time and it's $2 an hour. Or you can bring in, let's say you love to paint at home, but there's not much room at home. And every time that you start working, you have to put everything away because it's time for dinner and you're on the at the dinner table, you know. So you can come here, have your project here, and work on it here, and then you don't have to worry about that. There's also all the supplies, all paint, all the brushes, anything that you would need for anything that you're working on is generally I have it. And if I don't have it, I am happy to go and get some so that you can have that available here. That's part of what I feel I'm providing through this with the studio time, is that it's truly a situation where you can come and have everything you need here, and you don't have to. I mean, you're more than welcome to bring your own canvases, your own brushes, your whatever. If you want, if you have a favorite brush, bring it. I don't. That's fine, and it would stay with your things, so it's not like it's going to get mixed in with my things or anything like that. And but at the same time, if you don't have any of those things, they're here, they're available. So we still have studio time. That is a revenue stream, small as it is. It's still it doesn't concern me. And I know it concerns studio assistant because he wants to see the rent be paid.
Right.
and it is getting paid. It's just not getting paid entirely by the
Revenue
revenue
generation.
generation. And of why he's trying to branch off onto his own. It's still falling under the Artsy Artisan umbrella, but do his school spirit and his ranger with a laser.
A ranger and his
A ranger and his laser.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And so those are the things, and he would be, I guess, focusing more on military projects for the ranger and a ranger and his laser.
Yeah.
And the school spirit one would be, of course, under Artsy Artisan, and it would just be a school spirit thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to
make
revenue.
The revenue where.
And that's fine, because that may be the way that God's providing. But I am fine with however God chooses to
Do you think you have a very expensive piece of technology that has allowed you to expand your creativity and imagination? Um, Maybe talk about that a little bit, how you see it being utilized now, maybe areas where it could be better utilized, because I think that's one thing we talked about, individuals who have their own ideas or concepts for a laser-enabled project, you know? So
Right.
just talk a little bit about that technology that we use.
So I had someone approach me the other night and say, so my nephew's really big into monster trucks, and I want to do a door knocker for his room, for his door on his room. And so I came up with this concept basically, and any of this can change. Any of the colors can change. The font can change. Pretty much just about anything. But that's what I came up with. Very easy project. They can come in and work on it together. He's only 5, I think. And so I told her, I said, whatever, we can give him one piece and tell him paint it yellow. And then he can paint it as messy as he wants. And then she can work on it some herself. And when they decide, okay, he's done, he doesn't want to be here anymore, then I would just finish the project for her, and that would be that.
Right.
And so
Laser enabled.
It's all
project.
laser enabled. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all cut on the laser, and it would be a great decoration for his door, and what we call the door hanger. So, did you want me to talk about too, also with my artwork, or?
Just say a little bit about how it has allowed you to do some projects that maybe you wouldn't have even tried,
Right.
or
Okay.
would have been
So
much more difficult.
This is something that when I mentioned this in the last video, that in 2018 I became a full-time artist, and at that point, and I think even maybe before that point, I had a notes page on my phone that anytime I got any inspiration or any ideas for any artsy kind of thing, I would put it in there, and I would describe it as well as I could, because I'm going to be reading these in the future, and I have to remember, oh, that's right, I was thinking about doing XYZ, whatever. And so you can scroll down for a good minute of ideas, creative ideas. And what's the fun thing is that in 2018, I couldn't have accomplished those things the way that I saw them in my head, because my skill set wasn't there, or the medium or the way that I was going to do those hadn't happened yet, because I didn't have the tools, which the laser is one of them. And that's been the exciting thing, that once things slow down, that gave me a chance to go, well, hey, sure, I'm not doing workshops, so I can work on my own art. And then I was like, oh, hey, not only that, but I can take elements of things that I was thinking about, that back in 2018 I didn't have the skill set or the necessary tools. Now I do, and not only that, but I have time to work on those things. So we were able to get a couple projects off the ground, things that I had been wanting, or percolating, that I had been wanting to do. And I had been doing some designing stuff on my iPad, on my Procreate app, way before I got the laser. So some of those I was able to go back and say, hey, we could do something with this, we could do something with that. And so it's been exciting, to be honest, like, just to be able to go, oh, that's right. It's like my imagination can come to life. It's not just other people's imagination. It could be my imagination. So
I'm going to jump around a little bit. Your customer avatar.
My ideal customer
Your
avatar.
ideal customer avatar. What it was, and what may or may not be the reality, or is it still?
It's still holding true. The
Yeah.
only part is the tourist angle. I mean, there's not really been tourist interest, which I'm fine with that, because my heart is for the locals, for the community. And my heart is for this space to be a community friendly space. And it has become that. I mean, we do yoga on Monday nights, which is not art related in any way, but I'm happy to have the ladies come in and do cheerful. Also, we had a game. The well, the game night was before we discovered that the library has a game night. So we all joined the library game night, but we actually have had a couple game nights here. So that's another community-based thing that, if any groups are out there are interested in having a place to meet or a space to hold your time together, it's available here.
Well, we did, in regards to tourists, I think we always knew, and this is specific kind of to merchandise, that in order to be successful, there's only one area really in Carbon County that you could be successful merchandising a lot of the things we create in person, and that's downtown Jim Thorpe.
Downtown,
And
if you don't have a place downtown, no one's gonna trek up here.
you're not gonna have the foot traffic
Yeah.
you need to create the
revenue.
revenue. And we always knew that.
Yeah.
We have our eye open
Well,
for two places, but
I
that would be a
just
break.
remembered,
Yeah.
I just remembered another stream of revenue that actually happened just recently, and it was someone randomly found me on, they found me on my website and asked me to do a paint and sip for their group. And so that was,
Mhm.
and that's another thing, and I actually took it to go. Like, I took all the paint and sip materials with me
Mhm.
and went to where they were at, which was very convenient for them. They didn't have to, it was a pretty nice sized group. They didn't have to leave their venue. They could just stay there, and then I came and brought everything up, set up, and we did it
It
together.
was interesting, that group was in Carbon County, yet they really weren't
They
familiar
didn't
with Jim
They
Thorpe.
didn't even know about Jim Thorpe.
Right, which
And I was
we
like,
think everyone knows about Jim Thorpe, and there's,
and they're so close. They were like 20 minutes away. They were in Albrightsville, and I was like, you need to come back. And they're like, oh, we're coming back, But I was telling them a little bit about the town, like, well, we have a train, we have little shops, it's Victorian, it's cute. And they're like, oh, we want to come back and do that. And I'm like, well, yeah. There's a reason why we have so many visitors come.
right.
It's definitely a draw.
And again, we always try to caution, because again, we don't want to add to over tourism.
No.
But again, we do believe there's a responsibility.
To paint it in a good light. And
And
actually, they would, and actually, we are kind of a solution to the over tourism, because it's taking people away from being in that nucleus of Broadway and kind of spreading things out. Just like Bright Path is on the east side, or Harry Guys, like anything that can draw the people, not to be so clustered on Broadway, but to try out different areas of Jim Thorpe would be, beneficial, I think.
Yeah. So what have you seen as some of the victories, some of the challenges, and maybe some of the defeats over the past 5 months?
Gee, I don't think that way. Okay, victories. Victories, all the projects that have been getting done. It's just been great. What was the middle one?
Well, challenges.
Challenges.
Yeah.
Okay, challenges. I know a good one. Since studio assistant has been spending so much time here, it's been quite the challenge to get into a working relationship. That's been
I haven't been subordinated
apparently
in a long time.
Yes, I keep telling you, well, he was at the top of the food chain, and so it's like he's had a hard time.
Well, always in the family.
Working
even at
for someone
my
else.
other job, I work with people who are significantly
lesser rank,
or and that's never been a problem. But they're paying me a little bit of money to.
He keeps bringing up money. Have you
But
noticed
I work
this?
for passion, to be with you.
Sure.
It is.
Sure. But yeah, that's been a challenge,
Yeah.
Adjusting to that and kind
And
of.
we have different,
Oh
again,
my goodness.
we have different.
Such different ideas of how things should be going down. And I have to every once in a while kind of put my foot down
your
and say,
sandal down.
put my flip flop down and say, my business.
Right.
not yours. So
Yeah.
it's just been really tough. That part's been a little bit tough, but
Yeah.
it's all been good for, I think,
The
for our
time
marriage.
here, oh my gosh.
For our marriage, it's been amazing because it really, I think more so in the last year, I think Chris has started to see me, not more in a positive light, but I think he's starting to say, oh, she's actually pretty capable. Not that, I mean, I think he took it for granted before is what I'm trying to say. I don't think he really realized how much I juggled all those years
Right.
of running home, kids, work.
Right.
And yeah, I think he's getting more of a capture on how I not only did that, but did really well and did it
So,
pretty effortless.
Talk a little bit about the business side.
Wait, I didn't say the failures,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah,
I
you're right.
said
Yeah,
the
failures.
victories,
Yeah,
the
and failures
challenges.
might be a harsh term, but
Yeah, because I don't see anything as a failure.
Right.
I think I see it as all a learning experience.
Mhm.
And I would say, like, for me, the thing that makes my heart drop was the pop art, because that was
yeah, I thought that was going to be really
that was the first
popular, right?
that was the first workshop where no one signed up,
Mhm.
and not only that, but then I was getting ready to put the pop art on the wall, which we'll see later in part 2. The wall where all the former projects go. I was getting ready to put it up there, and it started popping off each other. Like every layer was coming off, and which makes sense because what I really needed to glue them together was with epoxy, like an epoxy, 2-part epoxy. And since it was going from resin to wood to, it made sense. I didn't think it through, and in a way, I am so happy that no one signed up for that workshop, because can you imagine? They do this great work, they get it all resin, and then they get it home, they glue it together, get it home, and then it falls apart at some point. I would have been destroyed.
There's been a lot of learning for both of us in creating things.
Yes,
and,
yes.
It's been great learning.
Yes, studio assistant is one for doing trial and error over and over and over in increments that are very tiny differences. So anyway, so that those are things.
Yeah, that was
would
a
be
disappointment.
that was a disappointment.
Yeah.
It makes my heart drop, but I have hope because I still have all the pieces, and thank God when this happened, I was on the counter, and so everything fell apart on the counter. Like nothing on the floor, nothing got ruined in any way. And then it was like ding, ding, ding. Like my head just went, oh, 2-part epoxy. Where you squeeze the 2 parts, you mix it together, and then you use that to glue. It would be like it would become bonded, truly.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter. And this is the thing, and I kind of kick myself a little bit because I consider myself like very knowledgeable in adhesives, because adhesives are crucial for an artist, especially if you do a lot of mixed mediums. You have to know what adhesive to use with what surfaces, and it's so important. I can't say it and stress it enough. It's like if you use the wrong adhesive to bring things together, you have the failure that how the pop art was. Yeah. But honestly, that's going to be redeemed as soon as we get around to remembering to bring the 2-part epoxy from my other studio at home. Right. So, but and once that'll be a victory day when all that gets resolved, because then it'll be like, oh, failure gone. So
it kind of goes into, and I'll jump back to business in a minute, but ideas and concepts. It seems like we're coming up with them constantly, right? It seems like every night, every morning, we have another quote unquote good idea or something, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty.
Factory.
That's the beauty of it. It's like literally your only limit is your imagination. And so, and I believe my imagination, our imaginations are limitless. It's truly, and it's almost like the more we see stuff, the more it triggers in us an idea that takes us in a different direction.
Mhm.
And then once we go that way, it triggers in another way.
Yeah.
And so it's wonderful. Like we're just learning a lot.
Mhm.
We're
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
this is I think about our May 3rd people, you know,
Mhm.
that we were. It's like we were truly clueless about
Right.
what we were about to embark on. But the whole adventure of it is that it is an adventure. You're exploring new things. You're learning. You're
Yeah.
yeah.
That brings up kind of the social media community, right? And I say that because there are a couple Facebook groups and things like that that we
That we are
habitually,
part of. There's
that-
like
yeah,
hundreds that we
Right.
are not a part
that
of.
have been very beneficial
Oh,
to
yeah.
learning,
Mhm.
helping serve as a catalyst to other ideas. And
Mhm.
hey, look at this. This is neat. You know,
Right.
does it have potential here?
This community that we've stumbled upon,
Mm-hmm.
that's the laser community, and for whatever reason, the two groups that we are mostly a
Yeah.
part of, everyone is so encouraging and so like ready to like answer any question
Mhm.
that someone asks,
Mhm.
or just to be helpful. And even the people who started the groups, super helpful, like with their videos. They're always educating, always trying to do whatever they can to get people to the next level,
Mhm.
which is so wonderful. Like to find people that are truly, you know, giving in the way that they, and generous in the way that they share their knowledge, because it
Mhm.
is hard won. I mean, there's a lot of, there are fails. And when you have those fails, again, that's what I said. So it's a learning experience. But if you can teach that to someone that have to go through that, they can start it. That's what we want to be a part of as well, is to be able to do that. And that was one of the things that I've seen with Studio Assistant, is that he's actually gotten to the point where he's getting pretty good at lasering. So then now he's turning around and answering some of the
Being able to
questions,
share.
able to
Yeah,
share
yeah.
things
Give back to
and
that
give
same
back to the
community,
same
sure.
community, which
Yeah.
is wonderful, because it's, I mean, that's what it's about. It's about, was it a rising tide helps all, lifts all
Yeah,
the
lifts
boats,
all boats.
it's like, if we, as a person, you're helping other people,
Yeah,
and then you're being helped, and then it's all,
Yeah.
everyone's rising.
yeah. There's so many aspects to this, let me call it a business or a venture. There's the art aspect, the craft aspect, the hardware, the software, the technology, all these things. And some of it is pretty complicated. It's like learning any new software system, and there are multiple ones. Think about a laser. You just imagine, the challenge associated with operating a laser. And yeah, that they're much more simpler than they may have been 5 or 10 years ago, but there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of having to work through problems
Troubleshooting.
and seeking advice and counsel from others who've been doing it longer and things of that nature. Let's talk about a little bit about the business side of it, which is an area which I think you prefer there was no quote unquote business side of it, but you decided to create a business, for better or for worse. So what are some of the lessons learned in regards to the business side of it?
We had this little, like, and I won't call it a discussion, but it was a little moment between us where he said, well, you chose to make it a business. And I'm like, I made it an LLC to protect our personal finances.
That was a good, quick call. I think I thought she was gonna tap dance, and she real quick,
Yeah, it wasn't so much to do a business, it was to protect our finances. No, but, so what was the question again? Sorry.
The business side
Well,
of it.
you have been the one who's been running mostly that side of it.
I don't know. You do all the stuff, right? I mean, purchasing,
Sure.
documenting
You
receipts.
purchase too. I document.
Yeah,
You
document
purchase
the
and
input.
I document.
Mhm.
And, and I do all the banking and all that
Right,
stuff.
to the bank. I mean, we're paying taxes. We
We're
just
paying
worked
taxes.
through that today.
Yeah,
The quarterly sales tax.
correct,
It's
yeah.
another issue. I mean, we obviously keep books,
Yeah, we keep,
of,
which
you
is,
know,
I keep.
revenue and expenditures, of things of that nature.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So, I don't hate that part, actually. I like, I did taxes, practice for AARP as a free service to senior citizens and low-income people. I did that for many years, and actually a lot of you know me because of that. But I enjoy doing those things. I'm terrible with math, with adding, subtracting, and anything having to do with numbers. But for some reason, my brain is really, really good at attention to detail. So if there's a box that has to be filled, I will look for the answer of whatever needs to go in that box, and I'm very diligent about that. I don't miss things. I can fill out forms really well and stuff like that. So for me, that part is not onerous at all. I don't get many chances to do it because somebody's always on the computer. And so I have to kind of steal moments here and there when he's not in the vicinity so that I can get on there and do that. But it doesn't take that long to catch up and get everything up to date. And so I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I guess my side of it is more the customer service part,
Right.
where people are coming in and approaching me with projects, and I love that customer service.
Yeah, that's the customer facing side. Yeah, no,
Yes.
you're right. Yeah.
You know, being able to do whatever it takes for their vision to come to life, and to be able to do that in a way that where they feel happy and like it was accomplished.
I found it interesting. One of the biggest challenges for products that are produced, and I hate using the word products because they're not projects, is pricing. Because the reality is,
and this is
you couldn't afford, if we did realistic pricing, even when we're highly effective and efficient. Obviously there's that research and development that is a lot of time, but there is no way, and we see this in our social media groups too.
Oh yeah,
That's
everyone's
one,
at a
what are you charging for this and
it
that?
fluctuates, and then it also depends on where you live.
Right.
There are variables.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm laughing so hard is because, speaking of business and speaking of numbers, pricing stuff is my worst nightmare. And so usually I leave it up to, or I'll run it by a studio assistant. I'll say, well, so what do you think about this, or whatever. But it's kind of bad because it's like a lot of times you have to do that ahead of time because you don't want to be having this discussion, this discussion right in front of the person that's like waiting to be charged, so it's kind of awkward, but it's really tough. Yeah, because as you said, I mean, and both of us have had successful working careers. The amount of money that we were being paid for our jobs that we had done in the past, it's how do you put like a price tag on me spending a couple hours with someone helping them with their project? It's tough. It's tough, and so we don't pay ourselves. Basically, is what it comes down to.
And to be honest, I don't think in most instances, if you're realistic, you wouldn't even be making. You couldn't even charge minimum wage.
Oh no.
That's the reality. I may feel I'm worth.
Again, he's just trying to get to the goal of paying the rent.
The rent, right? And that's good.
Well, and actually, I mean, and I told him, I said this before. I said in 2018, I started as a full-time artist. In 3 years, and the IRS will give you 3 to 5 years to start turning a profit to show that you're not just a hobby, that you're an actual business. And at year 3, I was getting kind of like depressed a little bit because I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get slammed by the IRS saying, hey, stop claiming yourself as a business and you're a hobby. And I talked to you just turned a profit this year. So year 3, I was turning a profit, and I'm like, what? That's awesome. And so we were talking about that for year 1. We're just getting established. Year 2, hopefully paying the rent.
Right.
Year 3, progressing on
start
generating,
actually
like
profit.
being the black. Is it black or red?
And the black.
Yeah, black. Yeah, red is bad.
Right.
Black is good.
I mean, you'll go in the black as long as you can pay all your bills. It doesn't mean you're paying yourself.
Right.
I mean, as long as we set at 0 salary, we're golden.
Well, to be honest, and this frustrates him so much, is that I never went into this to make money. I truly went into this thinking I am going to spend my money to help the community until it's all gone. And once that money's gone, then the business is over. Because I mean, if I'm not making the rent, I can't, conjure it out of thin air. So I had some money saved up from jobs that I've done. I do things like that. And so that money, and so it has not come out of our joint account. No money has come out of our joint account for this whole business venture. So it's all been from my money. And I'm like, I could die tomorrow. It's like, I'm not taking it with me. It's like, it's doing no good sitting there. And I'd rather do something that's helpful to other people. And I came into this really altruistically. I wanted this to be for the community. And it's still, that is my goal, my passion, my desire is that this is for locals and, carbonites, Carbon County people. And it's like, that's good enough for me.
Well, I think, again, you made the plant analogy, or I probably turned it into the analogy for the business, right? Sleep, creep, and leap for plants, right?
Yeah, it's a gardening
Garden.
thing, yeah.
Right.
So your plants, when you first plant them, the first year they sleep. They're just making their roots and getting established. The next year they creep. That means they just they start to flourish a little bit. And then the third year they leap. That means they just
The unique things about this particular, no, it's probably not unique. There's a creation component that takes a couple months, is the fact that you have to be 2 to 3 months ahead if you're trying to tie it to events or seasons or holidays. So you're thinking, I'd love to sell 500 Christmas ornaments that are laser enabled. You have to be creating them in September. Yeah, starting
actually in July.
You really need to start really early. Where I think I much prefer to do customized stuff, individualized.
Yeah.
You come with the concept and the idea to Maggie, and she helps enable it and brings it together.
Yeah, I totally hate the whole, you go into a store in July and they already have Halloween stuff out. And you're like, what in the world? It's 2 months away or 3 months or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It keeps getting worse each year. It's like you start seeing Christmas. I'm like, we're not even close. And so to me, I hate that. And so to think of having a whole business where you're like trying to generate things that are Christmassy and in July, I'm like, that kills me.
Well, just think of the seasonal, like the Christmas shows, where they're filming or used to film them 5 or 6 months in the middle of summer. Bing Crosby would be in Las Vegas, filming his Christmas special. That's in this business, in certain elements of it, you have to already be doing it, or you're already behind.
The power curve.
You're behind. And that's why this first year is so important for us, because we're learning the rhythm in regards to certain things that we may or may not want to do.
Right. And we're learning whether we want to get sucked into that or not.
Right, because we're not one for doing craft shows or art type of things. I mean, we're not going out there on a 10 by 10 and setting up things. That's not.
That said, I am face painting the first weekend in October. So I will be downtown doing that.
Yeah, but that's under MaggieLukasevich.art.
That is under MaggieLukasevich.art. It is. So, but yeah. And part of why I agreed to do it was because I was like, that'll give me an insight into what's going on. Because just like any other local, I don't go anywhere near downtown during October.
Downtown Jim Thorpe.
Yeah, in October. That would be like insanity. So I figured, well, I'm going to be working down there, so that'll give me a chance to look, see what's looking for. What are they excited about? Maybe there's something that possibly do for next year, for next October. And actually that works out better for us because we already had our vacation planned for October, and it's a great month to travel, but it's terrible for doing something that's Jim Thorpe related. So yeah, so we're already going to be gone for 2 weekends in October. It wouldn't have worked. And actually, I would have, this face painting, I could have done it for 3 weekends. They were asking me to do it for 3 weekends. And I said, I'm only going to be here for one of them. So.
I think it's important, again, it's going to be important that we sit down formally at the end of this year, which again, it may only be 7 or 8 months.
I always do that in January. I always do it like, looking back, what happened last year, what do we look for towards
for the strategy for the year and stuff. It's going to be so important.
I do that every year in myself, just personally. Anyways.
Right. I mean, it's going to be so important since we have such a heavy learning year this year.
True.
What things do we really want to put our time and effort into?
If you have any input into that, maybe after listening to us, you have some ideas or you think, oh, I really wish you would do this or that, go ahead and put it in the comments and we'll certainly consider it. And that's part of the whole heart of what we're doing here is that we're trying to do things that help other people. And so if there's something that you really want to try, we're happy to come alongside. And so that would be wonderful. But if there's anything that you've seen about Artsy Artisan, maybe our social media or the products being done here that you think could improve or could be done differently, we're always willing to listen.
So why don't we go ahead and get ready to wrap it up here. I'm going to give you the opportunity. You have any questions for me? He who shall remain nameless. And if you don't, that's fine.
Well, no, I mean, you just threw that on me. I should have a chance to think about it at least, right?
Yeah, about 10 seconds.
And then I have a camera, like he can put you on the spot.
Right.
Yeah. I think I would like to hear from you your vision for how you're going to be doing a ranger and his laser in conjunction with what needs to be done here. Like, no, I'm serious.
Right.
How
am I able to manage 2 things?
I'm not messing with you, but I really want to see, like, what if you got super stinking busy? What are you going to do then? How about that?
Well, I think then we would have to rebalance some of the portfolio. You would obviously have to take them on. Again, if you're supportive of that. Look, the laser stuff, I'll continue to do until I can't do it anymore. That's the main thing I do, right? And it was a very steep learning curve, and I continued to learn on that. That would be extremely difficult for you to assume, simply because, again, your time, money, or time, resources, your creativity should be spent in the creative realm. I have
Although laser, is very creative. It's very creative. I've been pleasantly surprised by how much creativity Studio Assistant has. It's been wonderful.
So, it's been laser enabled and light burn enabled.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is that you've been showing so much creativity in how you get these ideas and then you're actually making them happen on with the software. And then producing.
Right.
And I'm going to interject here too, because this has been the wonderful joy that I've had all along, is that it's mind-boggling that you have an idea and you make it, and then it's creative, like it becomes. And not many people get to do that, where they not just think of something, but then actually make it happen. And there's something about that. It's almost addictive. Like it's like not just a sense of accomplishment. It's not just a sense of wonder of like, what? Like before I thought of this, it never existed. And now it does. It's pretty amazing. And and this epiphany happened to studio assistant, and he voiced it to me, and I said, yes, that is part of being a creative, is that your life is this wonderful, amazing moment of, you have an idea, you think of how it's going to happen, and then you make it happen, and then it's a thing.
Well,
It's so cool.
I think, again, I just have to be conscientious of where my priority of effort, priority of resources go. I only have a few projects really to do. They're focused on my community, capital C. The high school or school pride area.
He was just trying
I-
to think
I-
of ways to make money.
I was right. I could discard that tomorrow
Right.
and would be.
Even though he is, I mean, he graduated from Jim Thorpe High School,
Yeah,
and he's
and,
patriotic, not
all-
patriotic, but you know what I mean, like
The
he's,
school spirit, and
school
I love
spirit,
that
yeah.
and stuff like that. I think, well, what we have going with the footballers, I'd love to go into field hockey and
Basketball.
Men and women's
Baseball.
basketball, baseball, all that. But again, that's
Track.
not where I want to put my effort. I had a cross-country idea. But,
oh, that's good.
yeah, again, though, how many cross-country runners are there? How many of them would want to buy something, blah, 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 you know, all those things figure in.
Yeah.
But again, there's some things I want to do with my community with capital C. They're
He
very
means his military
specific,
community.
yeah, specific military community and stuff like that. Those are the only ones I really want to do. I just know they don't fit neatly under the Artsy Artisan label brand. So to keep that separated, and I think to help, I think brand sell, and I think Arranger with his laser would help.
And his laser,
Yeah,
is what you said.
Arranger and his laser,
He said with.
yeah,
I know,
and his laser.
you gotta remember.
Yeah, oh, it would
Business
just
name.
be, and again, this is an idea that's out there.
Right.
You know, we have a couple things in our life, you know, tomorrow things could change 180, right?
Yes.
So
that's
again,
yeah,
you know,
that's
we-
another thing is
You
that
know, you never know.
we have to pivot many times, and as many of you know, we have a special needs daughter, and she comes before any of this.
Yeah, and we have
And
other
so
things,
we have
other
other things-
aspirations
Yep,
and
other
stuff.
things in the, you know, other
Yeah,
irons in the fire or whatever.
yeah,
And we need, you know, if we need to pivot, we need to pivot, and we do.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
yeah. But no, that's a good question, and by asking it, you bring it forth, and it'll stay in the front of my mind, or to the possibility of kind of working under the umbrella of Artsy Artisan
Well,
LLC.
something that I've been trying to instill, and it's been a little spotty, because this is how I operate, is I like to do like catchy little things like Website Wednesday, and what's my other one? Something with an F. I can't remember.
How'd it go today, website Wednesday?
No, Website Wednesday was happening, because I can't get on the computer.
Well, no, too, it's, we have so much.
We're
going.
flexible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like to do those things because, Silent Saturday or something like, wasn't it? Because it was
Oh, no laser.
No laser. I think, part of the, what's it called? The dilemma for me is that, yes, the laser is so important, but I hate the sound of the laser. And when I'm working on an art project and that laser comes on, I just, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. I would rather listen to that a million times than to sit there and listen to the laser. And it almost like destroys my creativity, because it's just like, it's a little loud. And it's not super bad.
No,
And
no.
it's like white noise. After
Yeah.
a while, you don't even hear it. But it's always like when it first starts up, I just want to like shoot it. If I had a shotgun, I'd be like,
Mhm. And the exhaust fans we use, and right stuff.
yeah. And so
Move
anyway,
along
so I've been trying to like Saturday or whatever. I need a day and count on. There's not going to be that noise coming on or whatever. And so, but that's a good way of keeping things organized and batching with your business as an artist, or in any other way, I guess too, is that if you have your days set up that way, then nothing's falling through the cracks, because that's the danger, is that you get so caught up in, let's say, the artistic part of it, then your social media goes by the wayside. Your website goes by the wayside. Your bookkeeping goes by the wayside. And so you kind of have to like set up days of the week where you say, okay, this day, this, you know, but yeah, we've been kind of, some people have been resisting.
Right. Yeah, but when it comes to specific to social media, I'm on there all the time. YouTube,
Yes, he is.
Instagram, Facebook. I
Right,
mean, we're
right. Which I'm
putting
grateful
out
for
content.
because that is not my jam.
Mhm.
I don't, and I was actually noticing the other day, I was like, oh my goodness. I happened to look, I was scrolling down on my Facebook page, like my personal one as Maggie Lukasevich, and just about everything on there, every post was about Artsy Artisan. And I was like, oh, I didn't want to ever be that person that starts a business and then that's all they post about. And you're just like, I want to know how Molly's doing, or I want to know what's going on in your life other than Artsy Artisan. And there are things that are going on in my life other than those things, you know, but it seems like, I mean, I finally, the other day I posted about my orchid. I have 3 blossoms, which I was like, woo! And I was like, and I was gonna put in there like a little PS, like, sorry, I've been only posting about Artsy Artisan stuff, but someone keeps reminding me to like share. And so I've been doing that a little bit too well, but I need to also keep a balance.
And I'm really good about, I mean, you know, I'll put 4 or 5 of mine to one Artsy Artisan.
Like,
yeah, I can put out some content.
Yes, you can.
I can put it.
And I don't think that's a positive thing as you think. You seem to think it is. But anyway, so yeah.
I enjoy it.
I know
I
you
like
do.
it.
That's why you are my social media integrator.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up here. You have the last minute to make your final comments. Anything that might have been missed that we weren't able to communicate through our conversation here. Go ahead.
I don't really have anything to say yet, other than I do like the direction that we're going in with being more like customized, one-on-one, full-on, just collaboration.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite words to use, because to me that means it's 2 people coming together and working on a project and having it come about in a way. And I've been super enjoying the collaboration having, you know, as people have been coming up to me and saying, hey, you know, can you do this? Can you do that? And it's exciting. I love also that I've been getting to know those people a whole lot more, because it's like when you collaborate, you're spending time together, you're chatting as you're working together, you get to know each other, and it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful to get on a deeper level with so many people, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for the space. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for everything that I'm being shown through it. I'm grateful for the growth. I feel like I've grown as a person, very much doing this. I'm grateful for just that on another completely different level, trusting God and learning to follow His. That's the alert. That usually tells us when someone walks in and out of the building. But just being able to get more finer tuned in listening to His voice and being able to follow where He's leading me. And I guess that wraps it up for me. Collaboration, gratitude.
And then just do your final signing off that you would normally do for Maker's Moments or the weekly wrap up, and that's how we'll finish it.
Okay, sounds great. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you get a chance to do something creative today.